Hi everybody, it's Crazy, and it's time for the Learned Experience video because today is Wednesday. Woohoo! So, we're up to episode number 26, and last week I fell out of my little loop of trying to get, up to 30 before a certain amount of time, but it's okay because I had a lot of things come up. So, this week I actually dug in a little bit and got some, more learning done. But before I get started, got to give a shout out to my trusted. You guys rock. To my crazy fam, love you guys, and to my patrons, thank you for your support. Um, I left off with walking a directory tree, and it's from this book right here called Automate the Boring Stuff with Python. It's kind of like a side venture because everybody knows I'm trying to build a game called Oops, and a couple other games I'm still got on the side burner, but I had to learn my Python knowledge first. So I started off with a couple of Python book before. It was how to make computer games with Python and Pygame, and after that, it was I still kind of felt like I didn't learn anything, and so I asked a buddy of mine, and he told me, he says, "Hey, why don't you try other stuff than just game dev stuff? Why don't you try something else?" And I was like, "Well, I got this book called Automate the Boring Stuff. It sounds kind of cool." He said, "Give it a try out." So I did, and that's where I'm at. And I gave myself a goal to be up to episode 30. I was going to try to be done with this book so I can start getting into BGE coding. And right now, I'm still not gonna, I don't think I'm gonna make that mark. I can try, but like I said, we're up to episode number 26. And I got 30, so I got 4 more episodes, 4 more weeks to get all this done, and I'm only on like page 202. So I've gotten further, but not that far. But it's technically only like 400 pages long anyway, so I'm halfway through, and I've got 4 more episodes I can do. So hopefully we can do it. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm up to page 202. Well, on that part is where I started off at. Is where I'm starting off at. And let's see here, and move that down. Okay, so I'm up to page 202 on this one. So 202 enter, which is called Walking the Directory Tree. Okay, now basically what this does is that it goes through every single file, every single subfolder in a particular folder. Okay, in a particular directory. It walks through every single one of them, and basically just technically lists them all. Lists everything that's in there. So I learned that, got the little start program here that shows you, tells you how to do it and all that. And let's see here. So this is the program. I've got it commented out because of the fact that later on I got into one that I had to actually do a lot of file changing it, and since this one right here would affect that, I didn't want it to do so. So I got it commented out. But as you see, I use a lot of print statements, and the only reason why I use the print statements the way I do is so when I hit, the execute, it will show me what it's supposed to be doing. Um, like right here, for example, all this stuff right here will pop up. It'll print this, which will kind of be like this, but without the red. Okay, it prints read zip files. You know, I put using a file from the book's website because that's the one that they gave you. It's called example zip. I used that one because the fact that I didn't feel like digging through and finding some files, it really didn't matter to me. It wasn't that, the file wasn't important. It was learning how to do, to zip that file. But nonetheless, got to come back up here. Okay, so I walked through the directory tree, learned that a bit. The OS walk function is a nice function. It, just to read it off, it says the os.walk function will return 3 values on each iteration through the loop. So it's saying through these loops, it's going to do this one, and this one. Okay. I don't know why I've got it printed twice, but I guess I did. Oh, okay, that's where it was commented showing the same thing. I got it printed to the screen and then commented normally. And the same thing with this. All right, so then I got into compressing files. Now, this one was interesting to me because I was sitting there going, you can zip files? I know you could because, way back in the old 286 days, you were able to make a zip archive, but you had to have a program to do so. I didn't know Python actually made it to where it can zip up files. So I think that's kind of cool. That's something I did not know. So, you know, when you're trying to compress them, you can use the zip file module in Python. So you can read zip files, and I did a little small program here. And if I hit F5, it's going to run through all of it. And as you see, look, it shows everything that was supposed to be. Like everything I put a print statement on, let me bring it back up, it shows up here. So I do it so I can see what's going on, how the file works, and it kind of helps me learn a little bit better. It may help you, it may not, but it also helps my typing skills because I'm a one-finger typer, so it doesn't help much. So I'm doing this to try to help myself, get a better knowledge and learn it a little bit better. So you can find out information, in a zip file. You can, use the .get info, and it'll do the same thing. Okay, it'll get the information from that text file, and I just put it up there so you can see the text file size, and this was the actual text file size. Now, after it was compressed, this was the file size after it was compressed. Okay, so and then I got into extracting files. Okay, files from a zip file. Whoa. What? You can extract them too? Yes, because if you can zip them, you should be able to extract them. So, needless to say, I found out you can extract them too, and it's like, okay, that's cool. I can do that. Now, zip file is the program or the module that is actually in Python. You don't have to do anything to add it in there. It's automatically there. It's part of the core. And then when you type .zip file, and then you put your file in that you want to extract, it will extract it to this variable right here. So it's okay. I like that. So I learned a little bit more, and you can get everything from it, and then you can get a specific item from it. You can extract all of them or a single file. Okay, so you would just put spam.txt and then where you want it, and that's what it does. It will pull it from that zip file and put it to a folder location that you describe. Now, if you don't put a location destination, then it automatically just extracts it to the file where you're at. In other words, where this file right here is. Okay, well, technically this file, but the file that you're running. Okay, so since mine's in gprompt, Python books, yada yada yada, and it will pop it up in that unless you specify, what drive and folders you want to put it in, and it will create those folders. You don't have to put you don't have to make your own some new folders. It will automatically make every single one of those. I didn't know that. That's cool. Make sure you always close the file before you're done writing or after you're done writing. So if you don't close it, it won't zip it. It'll create a zip file, but it'll error. It'll say, there's there's a problem with this file. It has not been, it's I can't remember what the exact wording was, but it says, hey, this file is not accessible because you're still in it. Basically, you just didn't close it. You still got it open. And when you run, where's it at? When you run zip file on a zip file, then this right here is the opening. It opens it. It's what opens the, this file to be written into. Okay. And, when you run, example zip, which is this file plus your zip file, or this module and your zip file, then you hit extract all, it will extract all to the example folder. Okay, so so just make sure you always close, because if you don't always close, you're gonna have issues like I did many a time. As you see later on in time, you see, hey, make sure you close the file after each write or append. Okay, now when creating and adding to zip files, you got to make sure that you close them after each write. So you're going to basically run this one and then close it, and then you'll run this one and then you'll close it, and so on and so forth. Well, actually, you'll run this one and then you'll close it again. Okay. The only reason why is because I tried doing that and appending it, and it overwrites it every time. It just completely overwrites it. Let me squish this down just a hair because you can't see the bottom. Okay, so when I wrote these two files in, okay, because I had opened it up. Where's it at? When I opened it up the first time, I opened up with write. Okay, so it's open. So once I write, what I want to there, I want to, put spam text in there, and I want to compress it like this. Okay, and so I close it. I have to close it because if I just go ahead and put this in, it's going to overwrite this one, okay, with this one. And the same with this, even if I use an A or not, which I don't know if that's a bug in the program or if I'm just doing it wrong. Let me know in the comments what y'all think. Am I messing up with that? Is it just not set right? Let me know. Okay. As I go through, I got all the way to the end of this. I kind of like this because it was pretty cool. I got into the first project. Now the first project is back up the zip or no? Is it rename dates? Hang on. Renaming files. Okay, so that's this one right here. So I got the first project. Now these projects here, they actually walk you through each and every step until not every step, but they assume that you know some of what you're doing. So that they give you the key points that you have to understand, like pattern, doing your regexes, regular expressions. It shows you how you can do it in what was this called? No, I just did this 2 weeks ago. But when you put verbose in, it actually makes all this work. Okay, it makes it to where you can use these comments here and run the whole thing, and even have the commented out stuff as well. So, like I said, when you run this one, okay, it skips all the files without a date. Okay, because it's looking for something else in the program that I had already done. Okay, so let's close out of that. I don't know why it isn't working. Well, it just shows how to go through it. So this project is renaming files with US style dates to EU style dates, which is European style dates. Okay, and I go on, I print all this up so I can remember. And basically, I'm going to create a regex, okay? And that regex is going to be basically this format right here. That's what that's going to be. Now, it's not going to show up because down here makes it go crazy because I had to look for, I had ran it and it wasn't fun at the end because none of these have dates on them. But if I looked at had it point to a folder that I actually have, it will look for it and say, "Oh, here it is," and it'll put them in by date, but U.S. instead of European. Okay, so that was the first project, and I learned a bit, and it brought something back up. It also brought up regex again and re.compile, and using this and figuring these out again, because I had forgotten, as y'all can tell. So you use different parts in there that actually make it work, and then where was it at? Yeah, and it shows how to how it does at the end. Now, fortunately, I don't have anything with dates on it, so just kind of just became forfeit, and so that put me up to page 210, and we're going to switch over to here, 210, it brings it all back up to this. And this is my next step, is backing up folders, backing up a folder to a zip file. Now this goes into my zip files. So let me close that. We go ahead and go down. See which one are you? Yeah, okay. I'm talking to myself here. Okay, so bring back up one, and this is that file. This is, backing up a folder to a zip file. Now, this is the one I kind of had fun with, and I wanted to follow along with the book and understand it a little bit better, so I wound up putting these numbers in here, which coincides with the book, okay? Like, you got these little numbers. Let me switch over to it. Okay, these little numbers right here. Now, these little numbers, basically, after you get done putting in the code, he comes and talks about it right here. So I kind of wanted to not have to scroll back up and go, oh, okay. I can actually just look over here and go, oh, okay, it's right here. Let's see. Let's switch back over. So I've got 3. Where's my 2? Oops. I don't know what I did. Yeah, must have done that somehow. But 1 is actually right here, which is this right here. Okay, that's the one. Its initial start. So basically that is this, which is here. Okay, which is the import file. So when he goes and talks about 1 here, I know that over here he's talking about this one right here. He's talking about the import file, which is this. Okay, so I started putting the numbers in, and I'm following along with it, and it was really fun. Now, this one, just basically it does a backup of the entire contents of a folder into a zip file. Plain and simple, right? I enjoyed doing this. This right here actually caught my attention. I'm like, I could do some pretty cool stuff with that. And I think I'm going to mess around with that. That one I got to keep on the back burner, because that one right there I think will be helpful for me for a couple other things besides just zipping up a standard file or a standard folder. Okay. All right. So then I got, then I started up to back up to zip. That's the whole ball of wax right there. So if I ran this, it's going to tell me everything it just did, basically all the stuff I commented. Okay. And then at the very bottom, let me scroll this up a little bit. There we go. Because that's the bottom of the file. Okay. So it tells you what it's doing. It creates the zip file. And this is my second iteration through it. Okay. So it found this before, and it made the first one. But if it sees it again, it's going to make a second one and not delete the first one. It's going to make a second copy of it. So basically, it's good for backups. Like if you want to back up certain folders that, like your registry folders, when you back up your computer, that's about what it does. It adds a little small zip file, and that little zip file has files and folders that it uses to redo it. So when you say, okay, hey, I want to restore this backup, it puts everything back at that point. So everything you did have on it is now gone, and you have the older version back on it. Okay, so that's basically what this does. And I was really, really into this because, in gaming, you're told to save. When you're working on your computer, you're told to back it up, to save it. And this is a neat little function that would actually help in that factor, because I forget to save my videos. They're on my YouTube and they're on everything else, but sometimes I forget. And here recently, I had a little hiccup on my computer, and I wound up having to hard shut it down. I lost some information because I didn't save it. And didn't lose any of my videos, but I would like to have it to where it would back up my videos to a zip file that I can put on my one of my external drives, so I ain't got to worry about it. Or if you're working on a game project and you got a whole ton of assets, you can put all them assets in a zip folder and put it on a separate drive, and you won't lose them. Save games. There goes an even better one. You like saving games on your games, right? Zip them up. put them into a little zip folder that you can put somewhere that if your game screws up, you can come back to it. You can bring that little zip folder out, run this program, or run the extractor program, and boom, it's back where it belongs. It already knows where it's at. That's a pretty good thing. So, let's see, where am I up to? Woohoo! Wow, I didn't realize I talked so much today. So, that's as far as I've got this week. I'm up to, let's see, I got it at the top of the screen here. I ended off at page 210, which is what I was at, and I actually made it all the way through the summary. I didn't. I got all the practice questions except for which one was it? Yeah, this one right here. How to close and open, and I explained that a little earlier. And then I got into the practice projects, which I didn't do because of the fact that I kind of ran out of time, and it was like 11 o'clock at night, and I was tired. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and go to number 10, debugging. Now, that's a whole nother ball of wax. So, with that, see you next time.